If you love shocking family drama, hit subscribe now. You're about to hear something unbelievable. My name is Tucker Brennan, and I'm 31 years old, living in Savannah, Georgia. The Spanish moss drapes the old oak trees like wedding veils, and the cobblestone streets echo with centuries of secrets. But my story begins not in this beautiful southern city, but with a phone call that shattered everything I thought I knew about my family. I was working late at my accounting firm when my phone buzzed. It was my stepmother, Patricia. Her voice was ice cold, cutting through the humid Georgia evening like a blade. "Tucker, your father had a heart attack. He's in the hospital." My world stopped. Dad and I weren't close, not since he married Patricia 15 years ago when I was 16. She made it clear from day one that I was baggage from his first marriage, something to be tolerated, not loved. But he was still my father. "Which hospital?" I asked, already grabbing my keys. "St. Joseph's." "But Tucker?" She paused, and I heard something sinister in her silence. "Don't rush, he's stable." I drove through Savannah's narrow streets, my mind racing. Dad owned a successful construction company, Brennan and Sons, though there were no other sons. Just me, the disappointment who chose numbers over nails, spreadsheets over blueprints. When I arrived at the hospital, Patricia was in the waiting room with her twin daughters, Madison and Mackenzie, both 28. They looked up at me with barely concealed irritation. "How is he?" I asked. Patricia's lips curved into what might have been a smile on anyone else. On her, it looked predatory. "He's asking for you, room 314. I found Dad connected to machines, his face pale against the white pillows. His eyes opened when I entered. "Tucker," he whispered, "I need to tell you something, about the business, about everything." But before he could continue, Patricia swept in with a nurse. "Visiting hours are over," she announced. "Thomas needs his rest." Dad gripped my hand weakly. "Come back tomorrow, early, before they get here." That night, I couldn't sleep. Something in Dad's eyes haunted me. Urgency, fear, regret. I arrived at the hospital at dawn, but room 314 was empty. "I'm sorry," the nurse said gently. "Mr. Brennan passed away around 3 a.m. His wife was with him." My knees nearly buckled. Patricia had been there, but she hadn't called me. I'd missed my father's final moments because of her lies. The funeral was a blur of black suits and hollow condolences. Patricia played the grieving widow perfectly, dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief while Madison and Mackenzie flanked her like sentries. 3 days after the burial, Patricia called a family meeting at Dad's house, the house where I'd grown up, where Mom had died when I was 12, where Patricia had systematically erased every trace of our life before her. "Tucker," she began, her voice sickeningly sweet, "your father's will was very specific. The house, the business, everything goes to me and the girls. He left you a small savings account, about $15,000, enough to start over somewhere else." My blood turned to ice. "That's impossible. Dad always said the business would be mine someday." Madison smirked. "Maybe he changed his mind when he realized you'd rather play with calculators than actually work." "Where's the will?" I demanded. Patricia slid a document across the table. My father's signature was at the bottom, but something felt wrong. The handwriting looked shaky, uncertain. Nothing like the bold signature I'd seen him use thousands of times. "This was signed last week," I said, studying the date. "Right after his heart attack?" "Your father was very clear about his wishes," Patricia said coolly. "He wanted to ensure his real family was taken care of." Real family. The words hit like a physical blow. That night, I sat in my apartment staring at the will. Something nagged at me. Dad's urgency at the hospital, his insistence that I come back early before they arrived. He'd been trying to warn me. I decided to investigate. The next morning, I drove to Dad's lawyer's office, but Mr. Henderson had retired 6 months ago. The new lawyer, someone I'd never heard of, claimed Dad had come in personally to change his will. "Interesting timing," I muttered, considering he'd just had a heart attack. But I had no proof, no way to fight a legal document. Within a month, Patricia had sold the business to a competitor for 3 times what it was worth on paper. She and the twins moved to a mansion in the historic district, while I struggled to process that my entire inheritance was $15,000. Months passed. I threw myself into work, trying to forget the betrayal. But Savannah is a small city, and I kept hearing whispers about Patricia's lavish lifestyle, her expensive shopping trips, the twins' new cars. Then, 6 months after Dad's death, I received an unexpected visitor at my office. Mrs. Eleanor Whitfield, Dad's longtime secretary, knocked on my door. She was in her 70s, with silver hair and sharp eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. "Tucker, honey, I need to show you something," she said, her voice trembling. "I've been carrying this burden too long." She opened her purse and pulled out a manila envelope. "Your daddy came to see me 2 days before he died. He was terrified, said Patricia was trying to force him to sign papers. He gave me this and made me promise to give it to you if anything happened to him." My hands shook as I opened the envelope. Inside was another will, the real will, dated 3 years earlier. In it, Dad left everything to me: the house, the business, even a life insurance policy worth $2 million that I'd never known existed. But that wasn't all. There was also a letter in Dad's handwriting. "Son, if you're reading this, then Patricia has done what I feared she would. She's been poisoning me slowly. I found the pills she's been slipping into my coffee. I've been to 3 doctors, and they all say the same thing. I'm being systematically poisoned. I'm scared, Tucker. Scared of my own wife. The will she'll show you is fake. I never signed it. She forged my signature when I was unconscious after the heart attack. Mrs. Whitfield has the real will and proof of everything. I'm sorry I wasn't a better father. I let Patricia turn me against you. And I'll regret that for whatever time I have left. The business is yours, son. It always was. Don't let her steal your birthright. Love, Dad." I read the letter 3 times, tears streaming down my face. Dad hadn't abandoned me. He'd been murdered. Mrs. Whitfield reached into her purse again and pulled out a small recording device. He asked me to record his last conversation with Patricia. She doesn't know about this. She pressed play, and my father's weak voice filled the room. "Patricia, please, I don't want to sign anything else. I'm tired." Then Patricia's voice, cold and calculating. "Thomas, if you don't sign this, I'll make sure Tucker never sees a penny. Is that what you want? Sign it, and I'll take care of everything." "But the business, I promised Tucker. Tucker abandoned you years ago. We're your real family now. Sign it, Thomas. Don't make this harder than it needs to be." The recording continued with sounds of struggle, Dad's labored breathing, and finally, Patricia's triumphant voice. "There, much better. Now rest, darling. Everything will be taken care of." I looked at Mrs. Whitfield, my mind reeling. "She killed him." The elderly woman nodded grimly. "Slow poisoning for months. Then when that didn't work fast enough, she smothered him with a pillow that night at the hospital. I saw her leaving his room at 3 a.m., and she was smiling." The next morning, I walked into the police station with Mrs. Whitfield, the real will, the recording, and a detailed timeline of Dad's mysterious illness. Detective Sarah Morrison listened intently as we laid out the evidence. "This is serious," she said. "We'll need to exhume the body for toxicology tests, but with this recording and the forged will, we have enough to arrest her." Patricia was arrested that afternoon as she left her favorite boutique, shopping bags in hand. The twins were with her, their faces pale with shock as their mother was handcuffed in front of half of Savannah's elite. The trial was a sensation. Patricia's lawyer tried to paint her as a grieving widow, but the evidence was overwhelming. The toxicology report showed lethal levels of digitalis in Dad's system, a heart medication that, in large doses, causes the very heart attacks it's meant to prevent. Mrs. Whitfield testified about Patricia's suspicious behavior, the forged signature, and the recording. A handwriting expert confirmed that Patricia had forged Dad's signature on the fake will. But the most damning evidence came from an unexpected source: Madison, Patricia's own daughter. "I found the digitalis pills in Mom's jewelry box," she testified, tears streaming down her face. "When I asked her about them, she said they were vitamins. But I looked them up online. They were the same medication that killed Mr. Brennan." The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. Patricia was found guilty of first-degree murder, forgery, and fraud. She was sentenced to life in prison without parole. As the judge read the verdict, Patricia finally showed her true face. Gone was the grieving widow act. She turned to me with pure hatred in her eyes and screamed, "You were never supposed to have any of this. Thomas was weak, but I made him strong. I gave him real daughters." The bailiff had to restrain her as she lunged toward me, still screaming obscenities. With Patricia's conviction, Dad's real will was probated. I inherited everything: the house, the business assets that hadn't been sold, and the $2 million life insurance policy. But more importantly, I had the truth. Dad had loved me. He'd tried to protect me, even in death. I used the money to start a new business, Brennan Investigations, specializing in financial crimes and elder abuse. Mrs. Whitfield became my first employee, using her decades of experience to help other families who'd been victimized by greedy relatives. Madison and Mackenzie, stripped of their ill-gotten wealth, had to face the reality of their mother's crimes. Madison eventually reached out to me, apologizing for years of cruelty and asking for forgiveness. Mackenzie disappeared, too ashamed to face the truth. On the anniversary of Dad's death, I stood at his grave with fresh flowers and the business license for Brennan Investigations. "I got them, Dad," I whispered. "I got them all." The Spanish moss swayed in the savanna breeze, and for a moment I could swear I felt his presence, finally at peace. Justice had been served, but more than that, I'd learned that sometimes the people who try to destroy you only make you stronger. Patricia thought she could erase me from my father's life, steal my inheritance, and get away with murder. She was wrong. Sometimes the truth takes time to surface, but it always finds a way. And sometimes the family that tries to cast you out only reveals that you're stronger than they ever imagined. That's my story, a story of betrayal, murder, and ultimately, justice. If you're facing family betrayal, remember this: the truth is patient, but it's also inevitable. Hold on to hope, gather your evidence, and never stop fighting for what's right, because in the end, justice always finds a way.